a kick, R touches it, or R initiates the block. And when we talk about initiating blocks, so what these two videos we're going to show is, how do we determine initiation? If one guy, if you're running full speed at me, it's only natural that I'm going to kind of protect myself, right? So we need to make sure that we know who initiates, and if we don't know, then we don't need to be calling it. We only need to call when we know for sure that the initiation, what the initiation is. So these two, we saw these videos when we did the kicking stuff, but basically you can kind of almost tell away. But if I zoom, if I pull this out, the thumbnail, maybe look over here, you can see Arvin's kicking and who's providing the force, and that's what we're looking for. Which player is providing the force? Is it K? Is it R? Or if we know for sure one way or the other, great. And if we don't know, then we're going to let it go. Okay? And that's a lot for the wing guys to have to kind of figure out. Because you've got, as a wing guy, what all do you have to worry about? Ball. So in order of priority, what's the most important thing? The ball, right? All right. So if the ball doesn't go 10 yards, does it? And K has it. Then the only thing you have to ask yourself is, did R touch it before K got it? And if the answer is no, then you're done. Okay. So ball is number one. So that free kick line is number one. Number two, when did R touch it? If they did. And then number three would be the blocking. So there's a lot going on there. And sometimes the opposite wing is going away from you. Maybe you see the blocking better than the official with everything's coming at them. Okay, so you may be opposite, and if you see an illegal block, then you flag it. Okay, and then you have a discussion, because again, the question is, when did the block occur? So they can't block within the free blocking zone, right? So if the block occurred past 10 yards, is that okay? Yeah. So you may see a block, flag it, and you have a discussion to kind of go through those criteria there. All right, defenseless player. So, player vulnerable to injury because of their physical position and focus of concentration. They can be contacted, but the player initiating contact against a defenseless player is responsible for making the contact legal. So, contact unavoidable, contact initiated with open hands. So what do we see that? Contact initiated with open hands. What block is that required to make it legal for? Blindside block. Blindside block. You can blindside block all day long if you do what? Open hands. Yeah. And then contact is wrapping up the tackle. When in question, a player is defenseless. Why do we have this defenseless player? What's the purpose of this? Safety. So they can be contacted. It just has to be done legally. There's a pretty good chart that they have in the rule book now that talks about this. So the passer. So when does a player become a passer? Throws a legal forward pass. So is the player who takes a snap and is running around but doesn't throw it, is he considered a passer? No. He hit. Okay. So contact is allowed if it's not illegal helmet contact or targeting. So what is illegal helmet contact? Spearing is one. Butt blocks. What is leading with the crown called? What is leading with the crown called? Spearing. So spearing is one. Face tackling, and then butt blocking. Those are your three illegal helmet contacts. What is the definition for targeting?
Forcible contact above the head or neck with the arms, anything.
Right, so basically, any forcible contact, head or neck, above, with any part of your body, essentially. So, talk about the passer. So, a receiver attempting to catch a pass. So, he's not a runner. So, there's a gray zone in there, right? So, the pass is in the air, and I jump up for it. Am I defenseless?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. When do I become a runner?
You possess it.
When I possess it. There's a little bit of, so when I touch it, do I become a runner? No, when I possess it. So there's a little bit of a gray area in there, a timing mechanism there. But again, there's no foul if it's legal and not late. Now this is one that we'll see some as an intended receiver during / immediately following an interception or potential interception. So they throw the ball over the middle, they throw it high. Okay, you got one safety that's coming to do what to that receiver? Lay him out, but it's high. So now you've got another safety back there to pick it off, right? Is that receiver considered defenseless?
Yes.
Yes. So he can be contacted, but it has to be done so in a particular way, i.e. there's no foul if the contact is unavoidable and not late. Okay. If the interception is complete and then he gets contacted, what is that technically? So B picks it off, and then a different player contacts a receiver. What is that? That is a block. And fundamentally, right, every team can block, right? Every player can block. So that block has to be legal. And if he's coming from the blind side, what does he have to do?
Open hands.
Open hands. Open hands.
Which they never do.
If you see that and you throw your flag, what do you have to tell me as a referee about when that block occurred?
Before or after the interception?
Before or after a change of possession? Before or after. So if it's before the change of possession, then that's defensive pass interference. If it's after the change of possession, then that's during a running play and a foul by B. And so they got the ball with clean hands, assuming there's no other fouls. They can keep the ball. Runner in the grasp of a tackler and forward progress is stopped. Can they be contacted?
No.
No, that is a unnecessary roughness foul. Kickoff punt return, attempting to catch / recover. So what's the difference between a catch and recovery of a kick? Which one's on the ground? So if it's grounded, it's recovery. If it's in flight, it's a catch. Or has caught the kick but not clearly become a runner. So again, that gray area, right? Just like the receiver with a punt returner, there's a gray area there where they can catch it. They haven't had a chance to firmly become a runner yet. If the kick is in flight, can they be contacted? And if they are, what is that? Kick catch interference, right? Because they have a unobstructed path to the ball. If it's a kick that's recovered, then there's no foul. Can you have KCI on a kick that is recovered? No. Why is that?
They're not catching it.
Right, so KCI only applies to kicks in the air and flight. And then if it's a completed catch or recovery, no foul. And again, all this means, you're assuming it's not illegal helmet contact or targeting. Okay, that's right. So if it's not one of those two things, then they can be contacted. Player on the ground, including a runner who's sliding feet first. Can they be contacted?
No.
All right, so in high school, when is a player considered to give, when does a player give himself up by sliding? What has to happen?
Something besides his foot that make contact with.
He's got to be down. It's not when he starts. It's not if he fakes it. Not anything like you see on Saturday or Sundays. It's when his knee actually hits the ground. that is when he has given himself up and he is down there. So again, or his butt if he can't slide. You're a defender and you're coming up there and quarterback's running at you, or the runner's running at you, and he slides right at your feet and you kind of fall on him. We gonna call that? No. But I'm a defender and I see that quarterback or that runner slide and his knee's on the ground, he's sliding, and then I take my shoulder and I just ram it into him as hard as I can and dive into him. That's what we got, right? And more times than not, what is that foul going to be?
They call personal foul.
That's right, because he's already, when he hits the ground, he's what? Down. He's down, that's right. Player obviously obviously out of the play, not near the runner. So when do we see this?
Long return.
Punt return, kick returns, interceptions, maybe long runs down the sideline. You got the two linemen that have been, battling all game, and one of them's mad at the other. But clearly away from the play. Can they be contacted? No. And you got to get these because that prevents it from escalating later in the game. A player receiving a blindside block with forcible contact, not with open hands. So what is that? Illegal blindside block, by definition. So it's a pretty good chart. Recommend looking over that. And again, if it's illegal helmet contact or targeting, then that is a different foul from this standpoint. And those are always going to be fouls, regardless of the situation.
Doc, is that in the book?
Yes. Where did I get it from? I copied it from somewhere.
It's in the rules by topic.
That's right. So it's not in the rule, it's the rule by topic book. That's right. I knew I copied it from somewhere.
Page 175.
It's in the rules by topic book. Yeah. All right, so they did tweak the definition for a defenseless player this year. Okay. So what they did was they added a receiver is defenseless, who is forcibly contacted by an opponent, and that contact is not incidental, initiated with open hands, or an attempt to tackle by wrapping the arms around the receiver. That's what they added this year. Not something we're going to spend a lot of time on, but essentially, if a defender is trying to break up a pass, okay, and he hits him in the chest when the ball arrives, that's going to be legal in South Carolina. Okay, don't get bogged down in the wording on this. But if I'm hitting in the below the neck, and I'm using my shoulders to try to knock him down and separate the ball, then I'm attempting to make a tackle, and that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, on that play, if he launches, defender launches, comes in there with his shoulder, he's good. What we're saying.
What's the definition of launch in the rule book?
I don't know if there is such thing.
Exactly.
He's off the ground,
It's
he's
not. It's
Okay, if he
not.
goes
So,
airborne,
and I say that because there's discretion there. Okay, so if you read this strictly by the words, stand up, Doug. So if you read this strictly by what it said, Doug's the receiver and I'm the defender. Okay. okay? If I go and like this, all right, my feet are on the ground. I'm running through Doug to tackle and separate from the ball, okay? But I'm like this. Am I meeting that last, what they added? My arms are like this? No. If you read it, I have to be like this. Now, who in their right mind expects the defender to try to break my pass by doing this? We don't, okay? So if my feet are on the ground and I'm running through the receiver and I contact neck and below, then I'm fine. We're not calling that. That's not a foul. Not a foul. Okay? All right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just question for you. The intent of that rule, or that
That's not what the rule says.
is
The
to
rule
keep.
says attempt by wrapping the arms around.
I know what the rule says,
He's gotta be like that.
but
Not laying the wood.
But per the commissioner, we're not going to be calling
You
that.
got a new interpretation.
Yes, that's why I'm spending time on this.
Wait a second, you said
The man
according to
will
the
sign your
commissioner?
state
Is that what
file.
you said?
Yes,
Thank you, I didn't know that.
Okay.
yes,
Per Charlie, you should have just said per Charlie.
we're not doing this.
Roger that.
So there, like I said, there's discretion there. All right, so let's talk about targeting. So we mentioned this. So targeting is a player who initiates contact against an opponent above the shoulders, and it lists everything, right? Helmet, arm, hand, fist. If they do the fist, what are we doing? Okay, we're ejecting here. Elbow or shoulders, okay? And that's the signal for it. And then illegal helmet contact. So we have butt blocking, and that's any player who initiates contact against an opponent who is not a runner with the front of the helmet. Whereas face tackling applies to a defensive player who initiates contact against a runner with front of the helmet. Now this can apply to both teams though, right? So when we say defenseless player, what does that refer to? The team without the ball. So not A or B, but it's the team without the ball. And so the runner could be, so if there's a change of possession, A could be guilty of this because they're the defensive team in that situation. So butt blocking is initiating contact against an opponent, not the runner with the front of the helmet. Face tackling is initiating contact against a runner with the front of the helmet. It's the same mechanism. It's just it's a runner versus non-runner basically. And spearing, which we mentioned, is any player who initiates contact against an opponent at the shoulder or below the crown of the helmet. And why do we emphasize this illegal helmet contact? What's significant about this? Safety. And if it's flagrant,
Right.
we eject them. Had some cool videos. Not gonna work yet. He's trying to find me the Wi-Fi password, so maybe. And if we can't get it working, I'll send out the videos separate, and we can about that. All right, so free blocking zone. So rule of thumb for the free blocking zone. You got the snapper, you got the ball. How many yards on each direction from the ball? 4. And how many yards behind the line of scrimmage? 3 for each team, right? Got 2 lines of scrimmages. So rule of thumb, you got the center, snapper, right? To the tackles, basically, right? We consider that the free blocking zone. So in this picture here, these 2 circle players, would they be considered in the free blocking zone? No. So what is significant about the free blocking zone? What is the free blocking zone allowed to occur? Blocking below the waist. By which team? Both teams. So the block below the waist, the block has to be in the zone and has to be initiated immediately at the snap. So the ball snapped, what do those players have to do immediately at the snap? Right. So what else is requirement for this? What do those players have to be? On the line of scrimmage, and they've got to be with tackle to tackle inside there, okay? When is a defensive player considered on the line of scrimmage?
1 yard.
Within 1 yard. But when the ball is snapped, they've got to go straight down. Can they take a step back and stand up and then go down? No, it's got to be immediate at the snap. A block in the back. So when are they blocking the back allowed in the free blocking zone? Ball's in the zone. Block is in the zone. An offensive blocker on the line of scrimmage and in the zone at the snap. And they block their opponent in the zone at the snap. Okay. Do we allow clipping? No. Fundamental. Blocking by either team is permissible, unless it is kick catching interference, pass interference, personal foul, or illegal block. And this is to remind us that these blocking rules apply to B just as well as A. So when do we see a lot of illegal blocks below the waist by B?
Sweeps.
So what do? What does that little 130-pound safety try to do to that fullback that's coming at him? Yeah, cut his legs. And we have to call that because it's a safety issue. Who's going to catch that?
Hopefully, referee
Wings. The referee can get it trailing some, but the wings have got to be looking for that.
Back judge every now and then.
Yeah.
Old coach in the morning, I know that was a foul. He's like, yeah, coach, that's a foul.
What did you tell them that the officials that have been officiating this game all season probably didn't know it was a foul either? So.
I didn't know that was a foul.
All right, so blocking technique. So there's two techniques, but we never talk about the closed hand technique because we never see that. So open hand technique. So hands in advance of the elbow, inside the frame of the opponent's body. So what is considered the frame? And it also, so it's chest, abdomen, but also includes the side. So when somebody comes up and blocks, then and I'm coming from the side, and I got open hands, and I push here, but I put my hand just here, but my force is he's going this way. Is that a legal block? Yes. Is this a block in the back?
No.
Is everybody gonna think it's a block in the back?
Yes.
Yes, but it's not, because the force is from the side. Just because I put my hand back here doesn't make it illegal. What makes it illegal is if my force was from the back. Okay, so I could be pushing and put my hand here, but if I'm pushing this direction, that's an illegal block. So it's where the force is. I didn't know you were such a starter, eh? So in order to see this and make the right call, what do we need to do when we watch blocking? See the entire block. If you just see the guy falling on the ground and you throw your flag based on the way he falls on the ground, you're a 50-50 chance there. You got it right or not. We can't have that. We need to see the entire play. Offensive player restrictions. So failure to use permissible blocking technique. Interlock block. Okay, we don't really see that too much. Use arms, hands, or legs to hold an opponent. So it's grab and restrict. We've all seen when these guys get tired, what do the linemen just kind of do? They just kind of lay on each other. They're just kind of leaning. They're both grabbing each other just to stand up. Okay, it's 100 degrees, middle of September, they've been out there for multiple, plays, they're just leaning against each other to stand up. Is that holding? No. If I'm a defensive end and I'm just kind of bull rushing and I'm not trying to get away, not trying to get around, not trying to get to the quarterback, not trying to do anything, am I being held? No, don't call that. Make it obvious, make it grab and restrict, okay? The runner may not grasp a teammate. Can the runner put his open hand on the back of his teammate to get him out of the way? Yes. Can he grab his jersey? Yeah. What are we gonna call that? No. An offensive player may use their hands and arms to, the runner may ward off or push any player. Okay. May ward off a blocker during a kick. So this would be K, right? Because the offensive team is the team with the ball. So during a kick, when does the change of possession actually occur? Kick in. When does it kick in? Our possession. So when we say an offensive player may ward off a blocker during a kick, we're talking about K situation. Right? Push, pull, or ward off an opponent when the ball is loose, you may legally touch or possess. So it's a pass that gets batted into the air, and you're number 77. May I push, pull, or ward off an opponent when the ball is loose if I can legally touch it? What does it matter? So that because the pass is batted by which team? B. If the pass is batted by A, can I do that? No. Because I'm not able to legally possess it. But if B does it, I can do that. Okay. Unless it's pass interference, personal foul, or illegal use of hands. If the ball is a fumble on the ground, can number 77 now push, pull, or ward off an opponent? Because he may what? Legally possess it. Defensive player restrictions. So again, same thing, failure to use permissible blocking technique. They apply to the offense just like the defense. Use their hands to add momentum to a teammate's charge who is on the line of scrimmage. So basically you can't push a defensive line. Use their hands, arms, or legs to hold an opponent. So the same principle, right? Grab and restrict. Contact an eligible receiver who's no longer a potential blocker. So when do we determine a eligible receiver is no longer a potential blocker?
It's apparent he's not gonna catch the pass.
He leaves you.
I'm sorry.
He moves away from you.
Yeah, when he passes.
When he's even or passes, right? So if I'm the receiver and I'm running at Doug and I'm in front of Doug, I can still be a blocker to him, right? But as soon as I get even with Doug, am I going to be blocking him? No. Defensive player may use their hands or arms, again, use unlocked hands to ward off a blocker. Push, pull, or ward off an opponent when attempting to reach a runner or loose ball. Unless it's pass interference, personal foul, or illegal use of hands. Now, players simulating possession. So, play action pass, right? Do we allow the defense some grace when it comes to contacting that player? Yes. Yeah. Reasonable grace. All right. Reasonable. All right. All right. So illegal blindside block. So we talked about this a little bit. A block against an opponent who does not see the blocker approaching. Okay. Outside the free blocking zone. Forceful contact not initiated with open hands, and excludes a runner or a simulated runner. So if it's with open hands, and it's not in the back, it's from the side, have it, legal all day long. All day long. Blocking below the waist. So initial contact below the waist from the front or the side. What is this if its initial contact is from the back? Flip. All right, so from the front or the side, initial contact with the opponent's hands below the waist, with continuation of contact below the opponent's waist. So if I put my hands down, and then you come and block my hands, and then below my waist, and then you continue below my waist, that's a foul. Even though you hit my hands first, if my hands are below my waist, and then you continue on below my waist, then that's a foul. Only applies to an opponent with one or both feet on the ground. If I jump into the air, you get what? Free shot. Okay? That's my fault. And it excludes a runner, which is the player with a live ball possession or simulating live ball possession. And the block is immediate initial action at the snap. And I think they got better at that last year. I know early in the season there were a few that were delayed, but I don't think that was really an issue as we got to the end of the season. So I think they kind of figured it out. All right, block in the back. So initial contact is an opponent's back, inside the shoulders, below the helmet, and above the waist. Obviously excludes a runner or pretend runner. And this is the one we need to see the entire block. So if Doug is coming to block me, and at the last minute, I turn my back to him, is that a foul? No, because when does the block start? Does it start when Doug contacts me? Or does it start when Doug begins the process of contacting me? The initial charge. So when it says the initial charge, that means what has actually not happened yet. Contact. So when Doug starts to block me, so when he's ready, he's got his hands out, open hands, he's coming at me, he might not have reached me yet, he turns, and then I turn and he hits me in the back. That's not a foul. So the only way to know that is to do what? See the whole play. See the entire block. That's the only way to do that, because if all you see is the end of him pushing me in the back, you don't know how they got there, you're not going to get that right. You're not going to get that right. And, we see a lot of little guys, or those little defenders like to do when they see the big guys running at them. They like to turn. They like to turn, all right? They don't want to they don't want to get run over in the face. So they like to turn. So they like to duck, and they like to turn. And so that's why you've got to see the whole play. And what do those big guys like to do when they see little guys in front of them? They like to run them over, okay? So you've got to see the whole thing. Shot block. So it's a combination block by two or more teammates, with or without delay. Again, excluding the runner or simulated runner. Only occurs in the free blocking zone, and they made a change to this last year, right? But last year they made the change. Okay. So what is now considered a low block? Below the waist. Below the waist. So if you have one blocker high, i.e. above the waist, and you got one blocker low, below the waist, what is that? Shot block. If they're both low, good. And if they're both high, good. So when do you kind of see this? Most of the time is when they sweeps or they drop back to pass, and the running back goes to help. goes to help somebody, goes to help the tackle or the guard, and they tend to kind of want to go low because again, they're little, and the guy they're trying to block is big. So sometimes they will get them below the waist while he's engaged with somebody else. And you see that as a referee or umpire, you gotta flag that, because again, this is a safety issue.
One of the things that's important on that slide right there that you mentioned is only occurs in free blocking.
So outside the free blocking zone, what is this? Block below the waist. Doesn't matter. Block below the waist.
Low, says it's a legal block, but it has to be at the snap.
Yes, yes,
And free block.
yes. So that's a great point by Robbie. So, yes, they can combo low, but they've got to meet the blocking below the waist criteria to do that. That's a great point there. Clipping. Is clipping ever allowed?
No.
All right. On the runner, but in terms of non-runner. So it's just not allowed. And some nice videos, but we'll skip all that. Pretty short presentation.
All that good video.
All that good video. Helping the runner. So I put this in here not because I really wanted to, but because it's a point of emphasis this year in the rule book. I know that since I'm not writing the exam this year, that this may come up on the exam. So, no offensive player shall push, pull, or lift a runner to assist forward progress. So what's the key there? They've got to actually do what for the runner? They got to help him. They got to assist him. A 5-yard penalty, and it's direct assistance to the runner. So if you come in and you push the pile, is that helping the runner?
Somebody's pushing it.
Well, yeah, but
It is.
Is that providing direct assistance to the runner?
Somebody is.
No. So you got to, and so for those of you that watch the NFL, what did the Philadelphia Eagles do last year on QB sneaks?
They pushed him all the way in.
They pushed it. Pushed Jalen Hurts. They got like 3 guys behind him pushing him. Okay. Hopefully we won't see that at the high school level, but you know what happens. They watch, coaches watch on Sunday and they, oh, that's a great idea. Let's do that. You know? So, but it's direct momentum. So it's pushing, but it's also what? Pulling.
Yeah.
And sometimes, especially if you get around the goal line, if a lineman sees his runner short, that lineman may do what?
Pull him across.
Grab him and drag him across. And we gotta flag that. We gotta get that. Okay, we gotta get that. All right. So we don't see this often. I think I may have caught it once in a sub-varsity game where they literally 2 guys just went and just grabbed the runner and just kind of like carried, like literally dragged him. And I was like, really? Come on now, you know. But we were near the goal line. He was short, and they were just pulling him through.
You were working at sub-varsity again?
This was a long time ago. In fact, when we were Dickers. It was a long time ago. Okay.
you're seeing that a lot more in colleges and pros. Also.
Yes.
Actually pulling them across.
Yeah. So this will trickle down, just like hurdling, which we're about to talk to next. What have we seen more and more of the last few years?
Hurling.
And why is that?
Well, it's on Saturday.
They see it on Saturdays and Sundays.
It's good on Saturday.
So we'll start to see more of this as we go
It was
along.
a 5-yard.
5-yard penalty. All right, so hurdling. So a player attempts to jump with one or both feet of an opponent who is contacting the ground with just their feet. Okay. So if
You can duck and show us this.
you want me to say, if I'm the opponent, all right, Doug's coming at me, he's running, and I have a hand on the ground, and he hurdle over me.
Yes.
You think Doug's gonna make it? No, I don't think so either, but he can.
Doug, I got you, man. You can do it.
Not right now, but there will was a time when I could.
Okay, so if I have my hand on the ground, I can hurdle. Okay, all right.
You can't jump over.
If I'm standing up, or I'm squatted, like I'm gonna make a tackle, and I'm like this, and he tries to jump over me,
I thought he was gonna do it.
yeah, he tries to jump over me, that's the hurdle, that's what we gotta get. And who does this actually protect? The hurdler, that's right, that is right. This is a safety issue for the runner more so than the defender in this case. Alright? But if I have my hand on the ground, or I'm laying down, or I'm, got a knee down, if I have a knee down and I'm the defender, can you hurdle me?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And again, this is one where you guys see the whole play. Face mask foul. All right, so we got two. We got a 5-yard and we got a 15-yard. What's the difference between 5 and 15?
Grab and release, grab and release.
Intent.
You gotta twist. You gotta have a twist. Now, what all does the face mask foul include? Does it include just the face mask? No. So, chin strap, tooth protector, tooth and mouth protector.
Back of the helmet?
Yeah, you grab any opening. So
Yep.
back of the helmet, ear holes. Now, if you can catch that, that's pretty impressive. There might be a finger remaining in the ear hole if you catch that one. But it's not just the face mask. And that's the key thing.
How about the hair hanging out the back of the helmet?
Absolutely.
That is legal. Get that hair.
You grab the hair.
Or they have their hoodie, you see a lot of these guys, they wear their little hoodie that hangs over their jersey. If they grab the hoodie and yank them backwards,
that.
that's fine.
What about the do-rag? Can they grab that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Why do they have a do-rag on?
They're not supposed to, because sometimes it falls out.
Yeah. That's a failure on your part that allowed it to happen.
Sometimes it falls out of this.
Yeah.
Here,
Yep.
the back of the helmet considered an opening without foul.
If you get your hand back in there inside of it and pull, yes.
Now pull it off.
You don't even have to pull it off.
That's pulled off.
You just pull it, it's a foul. Yeah.
And you pull it off.
You pull it off, yeah, it's definitely fouling, and it's a dead ball at that point, because the runner's helmet's come off. And then that player doesn't have to set it down because of the foul. Does the face mask rule apply to the runner? So by that, I mean, can the runner be guilty of a face mask foul?
Yes.
Yes. So if I'm the runner and I have an open palm to your face mask, is that a foul?
No.
If I'm the runner and I grasp it, is that a foul? And I let go, that's 5, right? And if I grasp it and, pull him down to get away from him, that's 15. All right. Horse collar. So you grab the inside back or side collar of the shoulder or nameplate area of the pad/jersey. Okay. So this is the nameplate area. Okay. It's above the numbers. Okay. Inside the shoulders. And so the runner has to fall which way for this to be a foul? Or sideways, yeah, backwards. So if I get grabbed and I go forward even an inch, is that a foul?
No.
No, okay? But if I go straight back down and you pull me backwards, that's a foul. And again, this is a safety issue for the runner this time. We're protecting the runner on this one, okay? You can really get some bad knee injuries from this.
In your slide right there, 80, it looks like, I don't know what number it is, the defensive player pulling. He's pulling that backwards right now. He turns loose right now.
Well, has he fallen to the ground yet?
No, he's not on the
So
ground.
there's no foul, right? So
To the ground.
to the ground. So you're right. You can pull him to slow him up, and if he lets go before he gets to the ground, foul.
They'll be screaming, horse cow,
That's
horse cow.
what I was thinking, yeah.
We don't have a foul.
Well, you can actually have a dead ball foul too, couldn't you? If you
Um,
pulled him along the sidelines and he
But
fell
it's treated
backwards.
It's treated as a live ball foul.
But I mean, it can happen out of bounds.
It can happen out of bounds, but it's considered a live ball foul.
Yeah, live ball.
Because the contact starts inbounds when the ball's live, but it isn't finished until the play is complete while pulling down. Okay, alright, so.
Hey Doc, is there any discussion, so the rule book says subsequently pulls him down. To change that word from subsequently to immediately? To take away the time element? I know we've all seen it where the dude's dragging him down the field and then he still ends up pulling him down. It's like that.
As long as, I mean, if he just, no, I mean, I can submit it as an editorial change, but
I was just wondering.
they've got it now, they've got enough issues.
Rule 10.
They passed it, then they read it and said, oh.
That's a bad idea.
Should be immediately.
Alright, tripping. So, tripping is intentionally using the lower leg or foot to obstruct an opponent below the knee. Okay, so where's the key word there? Intentionally does it, and this includes the runners. You can no longer trip the runners, but it has to be intentionally done. So you can see, I know I got a big error there, but this is the runner, that's the defender. Does that look like a normal motion? Okay, it's abnormal looking, right? He's kicked his leg out. That's what we're looking for. It's something abnormal where you kick your leg out. Okay? Intentional contact with an official. So no player or non-player shall intentionally contact an official. So intentionally contacting an official results in what? Ejection and a 15-yard foul. Okay, all right. So basic spot. So what do we mean by that? So if it's a non-player, what's the basic spot for a non-player foul? And if it's a player, then you're going to go off with the basic spot, depending on the action of the play.
Yeah. While you're there, you sent out a very interesting question that, on your, some of the time, you know, I hope you know the one I'm talking about, where a cameraman was in the zone there, and he's contacted by the official. And I think the question was, who's the foul on? Is it? Huh?
Never happened.
Well, so the cameraman, is he a player or a non-player? Non-player. Who's responsible for that?
Game management.
Game management. That's the home team, right?
Well, now, the definition of a non-player, cameraman is not in there.
It is. But it says, I'm pretty sure it has like a catch-all in there, doesn't it?
Say what now?
So non-player.
Not what? When we looked up.
Take them out. Don't worry about it.
Non-player.
Get out the way. Won't be long, they won't gain the photograph.
So a non-player is a coach, athletic trainer, other attendant, a substitute, or a replaced player who does not participate. So you're saying that the cameraman doesn't fit in that definition?
Not if I, for WLTX?
Reggie,
Yeah.
we'll get Reggie out of there.
I mean,
He's going to this.
Alan, what's that?
He falls under the other attendant category.
Cameraman belongs to the other team, but he's on that side, and he makes contact, and you throw a flag, you really don't know where he belongs. So are you gonna penalize, you gonna find out where what team he's for before you penalize him?
The home team is responsible for keeping that area clear.
that was one of the questions you sent out,
That's,
and the answer was, they don't penalize.
yeah. So, you know, am I actually gonna penalize them? Maybe not, but I'm gonna tell the home team, you're responsible for that. Clear your sideline. And by the time I get done, there won't be anybody left on the sideline. On the team. I mean, you put them out, you know. But that is on the home team.
And going back to the horse collar, Joe had a good point. You got more than one tackler.
So there's a question about, so horse collar, if you have more than one tackler,
And they both got a hold of
so one's got a hold of him and one doesn't? Is that,
So you got, I mean, so you got that one guy like
No, they both do.
A or B,
okay?
but then you got another one who's engaged at the same time.
Get 2 fouls.
He falls backwards and one of them's got the horse collar, it's a foul. I mean, you gotta, if he goes backwards and, because remember, this is a safety issue, and so we're gonna lean on the side of safety. So if he's got one, if one's pulling backwards and he goes backwards and he falls to the ground, it's gotta be a horse collar foul. Second guy or not. What you gotta hope for is the second guy knocks him forward or does something to break it up. Alright, so unintentional non-player contacts. This is more common. Alright, we don't see a lot of intentional contact. Unintentional non-player contact with an official. So first offense, charge the head coach. Okay. Second offense, charge to the head coach and ejection. Okay. So unintentional non-player contact with an official. So does it matter who actually contacts the official? If it's a substitute, a trainer, the stats guy, the chaplain,
Assistant
the
coach.
bus driver, assistant coach, does it matter who contacts him? No. Who does that get charged to? Because the head coach is responsible for his sideline, first team box. Now we have non-contact by non-players. So we don't have contact, but we've got the same group of non-players. The first offense is what? Warning. Okay. Second offense, 5 yards. Okay. These are all strategic spots because they're non-player fouls. Third offense, 15. And you get an unsportsmanlike penalty charged to the head coach, right? Okay, because again, it doesn't matter who is on. The head coach is responsible for his team box area. And then the fourth offense is charged to the head coach, and it results in the second unsportsmanlike foul. Thus, who's ejected? The head coach. So, when it comes to head coach unsportsmanlike fouls, we don't combine the non-player unintentional contact personal foul to the head coach. We don't combine that with the non-player non-contact unsportsmanlike foul in terms of ejections. All right, so it's 2 different buckets, or 2 different columns. All right, so I run into the assistant coach in the first quarter. All right, that is a personal foul, right? Unintentional contact, charged to the head coach, right? In the third quarter, now is that their warning as well?
Yes.
Yes, that's their warning as well. In the third quarter, they get hit with a 5-yarder, the same assistant coach, because remember, defensive coaches coach much better when they have a foot in the field of play as opposed to being in their outside their restricted area. Defenses are so much better when they get that extra 2 yards to give their signals. Much better. So they get in there, okay. So you get them with a 5-yarder. And in the fourth quarter, close game, you hit them with a 15-yarder because again, they're out there, okay? And we've got to be strict on this because that's a safety issue for us. We need to have the freedom to run up and down the sideline, or in some cases, walk up and down the sideline or, briefly jog up and down the sideline, but we need the freedom to do that without having to worry about running into somebody. Okay? So then the fourth quarter, you get them for a non-player, non-contact, unsportsmanlike foul for being outside of, being restricted area, or being in the restricted area. That is charged to the head coach. But we've got that first quarter, do we combine those two to eject the coach?
No.
No, we don't. We don't do that. Okay? We don't do that. So just keep that in mind, that you've got to keep those separate from that standpoint.
Doc, who, gets assigned those if the head coach is already gone?
It will be the acting head coach. So you eject the head coach. So you have to ask the head coach, hey, who's taking your spot? As he's walking away.
And invite you to the lake.
You won't get a very nice response, but you'll get a name. So then whoever that acting head coach, so he becomes the head coach. So he becomes the head coach for timeouts. He becomes the head coach for penalty enforcement. And he becomes the head coach. That ejected head coach no longer exists in your mind, and you will no longer see him again when he gets done with his blocks. So you just write him off, okay? He's done. All right.
Legal block too, right?
Yes.
Legal block, yes.
Yes. That is a legal arm block. So I don't have, unfortunately, but this is a good play. So this actually happened to Ricky Robinson last year. I might have been on this game too. Not thinking about it. Lexington and White, no, yeah. So we have a long run down the sideline. We have some player, non-player, very excitable, just runs onto the field, almost directing his runner down the sideline. Doesn't participate, doesn't do anything. And he runs right smack into Ricky. So we have a non-player contact. Wow. Talking about it and it's going to maybe work. So let's see if it works. So we have a non-player. Yeah, there we go.
Wow. Okay, where is it now?
You'll see
You'll
it.
see it. So did everybody see it?
Yeah.
I mean, he put his helmet on. I mean, he even put his helmet on.
Well, but the official led with open hands.
Yes.
You watch close.
So he's come. Now he's not participating. He's not doing anything to bother the opponent. He's just.
He's playing the guitar.
So what is this?
Dead ball.
It's a dead ball.
Looks like he does it.
Well, it's a non-player.
But either way, it's forcing the same.
It's a non-player contact. So who gets charged with this foul? The head coach. All right. What is the enforcement for this? Sitting spot foul. So what are the options for B in this situation? Right, or the kickoff. Right, or the kickoff.
Did Ricky flag it?
I wouldn't play it.
I think we gave him a sideline warning,
Gotcha.
and I think I told Perry, hey, you know what? No, actually, I don't think we did anything. I don't think Ricky did anything on it. Because when I was watching the game tape, that's when I saw it.
Right.
And I emailed it to Perry and said, hey, by the way, this is a 15-yard foul against you, and he thanked me for emailing him that. So, sorry the videos did not work. I will send this out with the videos, and y'all can kind of glance through it with some notes and stuff like that. But any questions about what we're talking about?
Very good, very good.
Do y'all like this format of how we're doing this?
Yeah.
Y'all like this better than just going Rule 3, Rule 4, Rule 5? You like this format better?
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll see after we take the test.
Good answer.
Last couple of years ain't been working too well.
So that's why we're trying something different. And if the test results keep going down, then maybe I'll be fired next year and I won't have to do this again. So Well, so the next 3 weeks, Brian's got scrimmage plays. And, so it's all one presentation. We'll make sure we get the Wi-Fi thing working, for the videos, to cover all of that.
Might be the hard way.
And then, after that, in July, I'll do illegal participation, substitution, and timeouts. And then we'll do Rule 10, penalty enforcement. And hopefully by then we'll have all the clarifications and we'll have all that done for y'all. So, any questions on that? Y'all have a good night.